Well, hello my friends and welcome back. This is my new and improved wind spinner design, and I thought I'd make a new video here to show you the improvements that I've made. I've always made the blades for my spinners out of wood, but they would never hold up very long, and so I decided to use metal this time for this wooden spinner, and I've made a couple of them in the last few days, and I've finally figured out a way to attach those blades where they're really secure. I think you're going to like this new design. So I'll show you how I go about making this. I made this little spinner here, and then I decided to make a bigger one. And this is where I made the improvements. Now you'll want to make your hub out of a piece of hardwood. This thing's going to take a real beating out there in the wind and the rain. And this here is a piece of hard maple. Now make sure you mark that center of that hub so you don't lose track where that center is. I like to make my spinners with 12 blades, and so the first thing you do is draw a line through the center of that hub. And with a circle containing 360 degrees, if you divide that by 12, you'll get 30 degrees. And so you're going to mark that hub every 30 degrees all the way around. So I lay my little protractor on there and just make a little mark every 30 degrees. There's 30, there's 60, 90, and so on. And that way you'll know where to cut your grooves for your blades to fit into the hub. Now you'll take your straight edge and just draw a line through each one of those 30-degree marks right through the center, all the way across your hub. And when you get all done, you'll have 12 of those spokes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so I fixed my scroll saw so I can tilt the table now. So I set that at 30 degrees, and now we'll cut each one of those slots for that metal blade to fit into. And I normally use on when I'm making these big windmills and I was using the wooden blades, I'd cut these on my table saw, but that blade's too wide for these thin metal blades that I'm going to use here. So the scroll saw does a good job. Now I'll clean off this metal I got from the Amish. This is metal they use to make their roofing. I just went up and got a couple scrap pieces. I've got a sample blade that I've drawn up here, and so now I'm just laying them out on that piece of metal there, and now we'll cut them all out. I found if I lay them out like this, I can save time cutting the blades out, because you're making one cut for two blades every time you go down through there like this. Alright, there's our first blade, so we have to cut out 12 of them. I got 6 green ones and 6 white ones. Alright, there's the white pile. Now as you can see, I've made my blade wider than that hub. And I'm going to make a mark on it on the back side right there. And then what I'll do is put this blade in my metal brake, and I'll bend 3 bends. One in the center, and then one over on each side there. And what that'll do is add strength to this blade, and also I'll be able to bend it around the back side of the hub. I'll show you that in a minute. But right now I'm just putting a little crease in 3 different spots on that blade. Not only adds strength, but it also makes that curved blade, and I think it'll catch the wind better. Then I found if I just straighten this thing out a little bit, it'll fit in the hub easier. And there we go, we've got it in the hub. And where I made that mark on the back side, there's a crease right there. So that'll bend right around on the back side of the hub. I'll tap it down a little bit. And then I can drill that out and put a screw on the back side. And that'll hold that blade right in that hub. Now I'll take my center punch and put a little divot in there so I can drill it out with no problem. And I didn't need to put 2 holes in there. I kind of forgot what I was doing. On my little windmills, I put 2 tacks in, but on this bigger one here, I can just use 1 screw, and that'll hold that just fine. And so on all the rest of them, I'll just put 1 hole in there. But you can see how that really holds that blade. I don't think it'll ever come out of there. Now I've taken a green one, and this one doesn't have the creases in it. I just put it in there to show you how floppy that is compared to the white ones. See how flimsy that is? So that by putting those bends in that metal, it really adds a lot of strength. So now it's just a matter of going all the way around and doing that same process with every blade. I've made a lot of these wind spinners over the years, and I've always made it with wooden blades, and the wood never holds up because I use that thin plywood. It just does not hold up outside. So I decided this time to make this wind spinner out of metal blades. Now before I get too far here, I need to drill a hole down through that center. And I'm going to use a lag screw for this thing to spin on. So I've already determined the size that hole needs to be for that lag screw that I bought. So here we go. This is the last blade. Got all 12 of them in there now. And we'll put that last screw in. After I figured out my plan, it really didn't take all that long to do this process for these 12 blades. And there we go. There's the finished product, and that thing's pretty sturdy. Now there's that lag screw that I'm going to use for it to spin on. And that'll spin pretty well, I think. I've made these things with bearings and all kinds of things, but I decided to simplify and go back to just using a nail or a screw. It'll spin for a good long time. Now this is going to be what I mount that hub to. And so I think it's 1.5 inches square is what that piece amounts to. And so now I've got that thing clamped down on my table saw. And that's a 5-inch screw, and I've pre-drilled into that wooden piece there. Got a nice pilot hole in there so I can screw this thing in. That way, if it ever wears out or there's a problem or whatever, I can take that screw out and fix whatever's going wrong. But I think that'll work pretty well. I used to make my sails out of wood too, but same thing. They wouldn't last only a couple of years, and the whole thing would be rotted and blow apart. So I just made the sail out of a piece of that metal roofing. And I'll screw it in there temporarily. Then the next thing is we have to find the balancing point of this whole thing. And so I've got a ruler clamped on my table saw there, and I'm just going to set that up on there until it balances. And right there's where I'm going to drill the hole for this thing to spin on and turn in the wind when it needs to. So there we go. There it is. So now when my 3 little grandchildren come to Grandpa's house, they can look out the front window and watch their wind spinner. Thanks for watching, everybody, and if you enjoyed the video, why not hit the like button and consider subscribing to Tim Tools 99. Bye-bye, my friends.